This is a dangerous property public hearing meeting that we're having at this particular time. Today is June the 11th, 2019, and this is property that's going to be discussed according to some concerns regarding dangerous property conditions, which are located at 3 different addresses. One address is 6282 Weatherby Avenue. The next one is 2125 McKinley Avenue. And the third property is 6322 Betts Avenue. Mr. Burney, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Mr. Burney.
Present.
Mr. Harlaw.
Present.
Ms. McFarland.
Present.
All the trustees are here.
So the first property hearing involves an alleged dangerous property which is located at 6282 Weatherby Avenue. And I would like to note that our Township Administrator, Mr. Gilbert, our Law Director, Laura Abrams, Director of Infrastructure and Development, Michael Gould, and the Fire Chief, Rob Leininger, are also in attendance. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to represent the owner of the property? Sir, would you mind stepping to the podium, please? And
Your name?
My name is Caleb Brown, Jr.
okay, and the order of the public hearing is as follows. We will begin with opening statements from you, the property owner, and both parties will present their witnesses with an opportunity provided for both sides to cross-examine witnesses. Then there will be a closing argument. Once both parties have presented their case, the board will either immediately conduct and go into deliberation and render its decision, or take the matter under consideration for a decision at a later time. Ms. Abrams, can you give us an opening statement about this property, please?
Before I do that, let me just indicate to the board that I spoke with Mr. Brown prior to the hearing this evening, and it's my understanding he would like to request a continuance at this time. I did check to make sure that our notices were sent to proper addresses, including an address which he indicates he should have received notices to, but he indicates he did not. The notices were also posted on the property. But regardless, Mr. Brown came in today under, he has a notice regarding tall grass, which he wanted to deal with. He really indicates he's not prepared to go forward on this hearing tonight. He's asked for a continuance. I indicated to him that due to the nature of this type of hearing, the board typically doesn't continue those for long, but that the board had a work session coming up on, I believe, the 25th at 8 a.m. He indicated that he would like to have the matter heard at that point so that he can obtain some individuals, some professionals to look at the property to determine whether they believe it's structurally defective. We have no concerns, well, we have concerns regarding leaving a property go for too long, but we understand that he should have the right to contest that. So we are willing to allow this hearing to be continued for the 2 weeks for that purpose, if the board is willing to do that. And Mr. Brown can certainly state his position for himself as well.
Okay, thank you. And maybe, Mr. Brown, have your opening statement from the property, since you are the property owner? Oh, I'm sorry. Usually people tell me I speak too loud. Mr. Brown.
Ms. McFarland, he won't be giving an opening statement if
okay.
we continue it. So if he could just acknowledge that what I've said was our conversation, and then he can make, and that he wants a continuance. Is that correct? Given that, if the board can discuss whether they want to allow that continuance or not, and if it's acceptable for them to schedule that on the 25th. What I would say is that the record should reflect that it is a continuation of this hearing, and that no further notices or advertisements will be made, because we don't want to have it be a rescheduled hearing, at which point we'd have to redo the ad, we'd have to send out letters again. He's present, he knows what the date is, he's made the request, so it will be a continuation of this hearing in progress.
Okay.
I don't have a problem waiting 2 weeks for you to find out whether or not it is feasible for you to rehabilitate the property, but we usually wait a long time on these properties, and I know it's been sitting there for years deteriorating, so in 2 weeks, I think I would be ready to move forward with, unless you can show us that it is not, a dangerous property, we'll move forward. I don't know what Gwen and Joe believe.
Mr.
I'm
Furlong?
I'm okay with a 2-week continuance, and I agree with what Mr. Burning, what you said. This property is, from looking at the photographs, it's obviously quite deteriorated condition. But I think it's fair to give Mr. Brown an opportunity to present whatever evidence he has. But I would suggest that we do it at that work session
On the 25th.
On the
on the
25th.
25th at 8:00 a.m., yes.
I would do
And-
that as a motion to continue on to that date.
Well, and I'm comfortable with that decision as well, but I just feel that it's important for me to share that the community has been very concerned about this type of property in West College Hill, and they're looking at how they can take back their community and eliminate this type of housing in their community. So I'm glad to see that you're here today. I respect where you're coming from, but I'm also going to share with you the community is supporting this and wants to clean out all types of homes that are in this condition and have not been maintained. So I'm comfortable with waiting for another 2 weeks, but I'm also an advocate for the people that live in that community, that they would like to see whatever properties we have cleaned up if it's possible.
Do we have a motion to wait till the 25th?
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're continuing your hearing till the 25th at 8 a.m.
Right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr.
And Mr. Brown did provide me with a good address and phone number, so we'll have that as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mr. Brown.
The second property, a public hearing, involves alleged dangerous property condition located at 2125 McKinley Avenue. And I would like to note that our Township Administrator, Christopher Gilbert, Law Director Laura Abram, Director of Infrastructure and Development, Michael Gould, and the Fire Chief, Rob Leininger, are also in attendance. And is there anyone in attendance who would like to represent the owner of this property?
Is that a tree growing out of the top of it?
If no one is present to represent the owner, I will note for the record that despite proper notices being sent, no one is here to represent the property owner in this hearing. So, Ms. Abrams, would you please recount the facts and the procedural posture of this case?
Certainly. On this property, it initially began in February 26th of 2019. The township received a request from the West College Hill Neighborhood Services Director to inspect this property. On February 27th, Fire Chief Leininger did do that. He declared the property to be insecure, unsafe, and structurally defective at that time. On May 8th, Captain Stein re-inspected the property and found it to have been unimproved, and in fact, its condition had worsened from what was relayed by Chief Leininger. So on May 14th, 2019, the Board of Township Trustees enacted Resolution 41, 2019, declaring the property to be dangerous, ordering that the owners and lien holders of record be notified of that declaration and be provided with a date for a public hearing prior to the removal or repair of the property. On May 16th, a certified letter to that effect was sent to the property owner and lien holders of record. And on May 23rd, the resolution and the letter were posted on the property. The township has a photograph of that posting. On May 29th, a legal ad was placed in the community press advertising the date, time, and location of this hearing and the purpose for it, and the conditions of the property, which will be presented in greater detail by Fire Chief Leininger and perhaps Mr. Gould, included deterioration of the foundation and the support framing on a bearing wall, resulting in the structure leaning approximately 5 to 10 degrees at the roof truss connection header. And the building is not secure. It has open and windows and unlocked doors and holes in the siding. The board has a packet, I believe, that has the photographs and has had the opportunity to view the property in person prior to this hearing, and obviously, as we stated earlier, has previously declared it to be a dangerous property condition. And that's all I have.
Okay, Chief Leininger, would you please describe the current condition of the property and if any steps have been taken to repair or remove the dangerous property condition or otherwise render the property safe, secure, or habitable?
All the information provided by Ms. Abrams is correct. I initiated the inspection back in February, and I've actually been out to the property 3 different times since then. The latest was actually today. I visited the property, took updated photographs, which you have, and as you can see, there has been no action to try and rectify the deficiencies as previously noted in my report. The property continues to decline. In fact, the photographs show an overgrowth of vegetation that has just literally overtaken the house. So my recommendation still stands. I do feel the property is unsafe, it's uninhabitable, and therefore we should move forward with the condemnation and removal of that property.
Mr. Gilbert, is there any additional information you would like to provide to us, the board, regarding this property?
Other than to clarify with Mr. Leininger's statements, I believe, in addition to the things he's referring to and describing the property, is it also your opinion that it's structurally defective?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Ms. Abrams, is there any additional information you would like to provide to the board regarding the property?
I do not, does Mr. Gould have anything additional to add?
No, I think both have been very clear.
That's all we have.
I may add one additional comment. I did speak with the neighbor on the west side of the property. She has expressed a support. I told her that we would be having a hearing this evening to discuss this property. She would very much like to see it demolished. She claims that there are raccoons living in it and has been a nuisance for some time.
Okay. Do any of the trustees have any further questions?
I have no further questions, but based upon the evidence and the testimony here today, I would make a motion that we move that the property located at 2125 McKinley Avenue be declared a dangerous property because it's insecure, unsafe, and structurally defective, and the board authorized the township personnel to immediately enforce a previously enacted resolution and remove the dangerous property condition after giving the property owner 30 days written notice of the intended removal demolition of the structures located on the property.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. The third hearing involves an alleged dangerous property condition located at 6322 Betts Avenue. And I would like to note that our Township Administrator, Christopher Gilbert, our Law Director, Laura Abrams, Director of Infrastructure and Development, Mike Gould, and the Fire Chief, Rob Leininger, are also in attendance. Is there anyone in attendance who would like to represent the owner of this property? Let the records reflect that the proper notices have been sent and no one is here to represent the property owner in this hearing. Ms. Abrams, would you please recount the facts and procedural posture of this case?
Certainly. This property has been monitored pretty closely by Springfield Township due to its ever-deteriorating condition since late 2015. On May 8th of 2019, Captain Stein re-inspected the property and found the condition to be sufficient to warrant a declaration of a dangerous property condition. At that point, Chief Leininger did declare the property to be insecure, unsafe, and structurally defective. On May 14th of 19, the board did enact a resolution declaring it to be a dangerous property condition. That's 43/2019, and also ordered that the owners and lien holders be notified of the declaration and of this hearing this evening, and the fact that the property would be, the structure would be removed or repaired if there was no further evidence. On May 16th, the certified letter was sent to the property owner and all lien holders of record, informing them of all the occurrences and including a copy of the resolution. On May 23rd, the resolution and the letter were posted on the property. A photo was taken of that posting. On May 29th, a legal ad was placed in the community press advertising the date, time, and location of this hearing and the purpose for this hearing. The conditions that are noted in the file and in the reports are that the block and wood frame have bowed, there are missing windows, and on this one, 50% of the roof has collapsed. The board will note in the pictures in the packet they have that there's a tarp covering that, which is obviously insufficient to make the property secure. And obviously, Chief Leininger and Mr. Gould can supply further details of the property.
Thank you, Ms. Abrams. Chief Leininger, would you please describe the current condition of the property and if any steps have been taken to repair or remove the dangerous property condition or otherwise render the property safe, secure, or habitable?
Yes, ma'am. All the information Ms. Abrams has provided is correct and has been documented in the report that you have in front of you. I did re-inspect the property again today, and once again, I found the property to be uninhabitable. In my opinion, it continues to be unsafe, and it is structurally unsound and deficient. And there appears to be no effort on the part of the property owner to have done anything really as back of November as 2015 when this was first brought to our attention, and we've been kind of monitoring this property since then. It continues to deteriorate, and in my opinion, it is unsafe, and therefore I make a recommendation that this property that we move forward with the condemnation and that we should demolish this property.
Do any of the trustees have any questions?
I have none.
I do not, Glenn.
So as we go into deliberation on the various properties, I need someone to make a motion on this matter.
I would move that the board determine that the property located at 6322 Betts Avenue be declared a dangerous property because it is insecure, unsafe, and structurally defective, and that the board authorize township personnel to immediately enforce the previously enacted resolution and remove the dangerous property condition after giving the property owner 30 days written notice of the intended removal, demolition of the structures located on the property.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Now I would just like to say one thing as we close and ask to close the public hearing. I am so glad to see that we're moving forward and continue to move forward aggressively, improving and sustaining the integrity of our community. These properties have been an eyesore for some time, and the community has been very concerned, and to know that we are addressing this in the manner that we're addressing is very critically important for those residents and for our community as a whole. And so I'd like to entertain a motion that we close the public hearing at this point.
Before we do that, I just want to stress, you say that it's an eyesore, but keep in mind that these properties go beyond that. Eyesore is what we deal with for our property maintenance code. These are dangerous, so I don't want anyone to misconstrue that. I know that's what you mean and you understand it, but I don't want anyone to misconstrue that we're running around, demolishing homes that just don't look nice. That's not what the township is doing here. These are dangerous properties, and they're allowing, people and animals and collapses of roofs and buildings. So these are the way on the other side of eyesore. So I know that's what you mean.
I was
and-
trying to be delicate about it.
I know, but as a lawyer, I can't be delicate. These are
That's right.
dangerous properties, and that's why we're destroying them. So I just want to make that clear for the
Thank
record,
you.
so.
Thank you for the record.
Need to be honest on this one, Wayne.
And
Can't be delicate.
I guess also it's important to note that at our following regular board meeting, there will be, actually, on the agenda is 3 resolutions, but given the
Yes.
fact that we continued the hearing for Weatherby, you now will have 2 resolutions on the agenda that you'll take action to amend the previously enacted resolution, which will specify who will be on the property to carry out the demolition which you just ordered.
Okay. Okay.
We have a motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Seconded?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is closed.